Hello, it is I. Now, incredible cars are typically paired with stunning interiors. Wow, just look at that. However, there are some exceptions of incredible legendary cars that are loved by all car guys, which have interiors that are just meh. So today, I decided to compile 10 of those cars into this video. Now bear in mind that these are all opinion based, so try your absolute best not to get triggered. You may agree, you may disagree, but at the end of the day, they're all opinions, not facts. Anyways, here are 10 incredible cars with, in my opinion, ugly interiors. Now before getting into this video, oh, what is that? Slap to find light goal. 4,000 likes is the target as per usual. It helps out the channel so much more than you can imagine, and it's free. And seeing as over half of you guys watching have not subscribed, make sure to join the family down below. We are on the road to 200k, and I love having new faces on the channel. Thank you very much, and now let's get into the first car, which is the first gen Porsche Boxster. In 1996, Porsche shocked the public by releasing their mid-engine two-seater sports car, the Boxster. However, what really shocked the public was the interior, because it looked like this. Yep. It was very plasticky, messy, and not very Porsche, if that's even a word. Two of my biggest complaints are the 4-spoke steering wheel and the weirdly shaped vents, which really don't belong on a sports car like this. Thankfully, Porsche did fix this rather weird design with their facelifted 986 by giving it a 3-spoke steering wheel and a slightly tidier center console. And they managed to make it look even better with their 987 Boxster. Look at that, that is amazing. The Nissan 350Z. Hoo-hoo, controversial one. Anyways, the 350Z is a car that I love. It's like a baby GTR that's rear-wheel drive and comes with a manual gearbox, and it's quite a looker too. A very good looking car in fact. So what's not to love? The interior. Okay, let me just elaborate. So the seats, nice. The gauges, very nice. The steering wheel, it's just not for me. It has 3 spokes, which is great, but the shape is so depressing. It just looks so out of place. I mean, it comes out of the Xterra SUV, which explains a lot. And another not so great feature about this interior are the door cards, which are just, why does this even exist? It's just a massive slab of cheap plastic and fabric with a door handle. But other than that, the interior of the 350Z is not too bad. I actually really like the layout with the interior, though the steering wheel and door cards really need changing, which they have actually fixed with the 370, so good job Nissan. The R33 Mini Cooper S. The Mini Cooper. Who doesn't love a Mini? They look cute, they nip you through the corners, they sound pretty good, and they are great value for money. In fact, I was considering getting one as my first car, however there was one downside which really threw me off. Of course, it was the interior. At first glance, it doesn't look too bad. It looks pretty decent to be honest, until you notice the behemoth of a speedometer mounted right in the center of your dashboard. Why is it that big? That's what she said. And also, all the warning lights are on the speedometer too, meaning if your car did get any warning lights, the whole center of your car turns into a Christmas tree, and it's pretty embarrassing if you have passengers in your car. Thankfully, future Mini Coopers had this problem resolved by switching the central speedometer to an infotainment screen and moving all the dials to the driver's side, which looks a million times better. But you cannot deny that these old interiors were quite odd. The Tesla Model 3. Now, regardless of whether you like Teslas or not, you cannot deny that the Model 3 is a phenomenal car. It's like a baby Model S packed with immense torque, smart gizmos, and quirky features, all for a fraction of the price. However, all this brilliance is paired with quite a bland interior. Some say it's minimalist, I say it's quite boring. My biggest complaint has to be the horizontal screen and the cheap looking steering wheel. Unlike the Model S and X where the screen is molded to the center console and looks neat, the Model 3 looks like it's been stuck on there with Pritt stick, and the steering wheel looks very cheaply made too in my opinion. Now, I totally understand why they went with this style, because Tesla are going to eventually move on to fully autonomous cars, so they plan to eventually remove the steering wheel. But at least give the car a good looking steering wheel in the meantime. This just looks so out of place. The Mark 1 Ford Focus RS. Yep, another controversial one, but hear me out. On the outside, the RS is a fabulous looking car. The wheels suit the car very well, body kit wasn't too crazy, there weren't any fake vents. It pretty much looked like a road legal rally car, which is what I'm guessing the designers were trying to go for. However, the same could not be said with the interior, because it looked like something out of Pimp My Ride. It was full of black and blue leather, which looked so out of place in a rally bred car, and the steering wheel didn't suit the car at all. They could have at least used a 3-spoke steering wheel similar to the Ford Puma, but they had to stick with the original 4-spoke wheel, which just makes the car look non-sporty. And in my opinion, the worst part were the seats. It looked like normal conventional car seats with the top half of a bucket seat. It was very odd looking. Thankfully, Ford have transitioned to fabric Recaros with their future Focus RSs, which look a million times better than the old Sparkos. But what do you guys think of the leather Sparkos? Do you reckon they look good? Let me know in the comments down below and I'll be there. The Volkswagen W12 Nardo. The W12 Nardo was a supercar concept Volkswagen created back in the early early 2000s, and it's quite a good looking car, don't you think? It had cool doors, quad exhaust tips, racing seats, even the interior looked really good too. Oh god, what is that steering wheel? Okay, hear me out. Excluding the steering wheel, the interior is very nice, but including the steering wheel? Disgusting! The R34 Nissan GTR Z-Tune. Okay, now before any JDM fans get triggered, let me just say this. I genuinely think the interior of the R34 GTR is one of the greatest late 90s interiors ever. I love the seats, I love the steering wheel, I love the gauges, I love the screen, I love the layout. It was so ahead of the time and it's impossible to hate it. The R34 Z-Tune on the other hand, they ruined it. For a car so rare, worth around £500,000, you'd expect the interior to be better than the standard GTR, but nope. The seats were reupholstered in leather, the gauges were turned to white, and the steering wheel came straight out of a Nissan 350 GT. Even the GTR badge is gone. Now don't get me wrong, I don't hate this interior, but comparing it to the standard R34 GTR, it was a massive downgrade. And also, leather seats in an old JDM sports car will never be cool. The Toyota Yaris T-Sport. In 2001, Toyota released their brand new sporty Yaris called the T-Sport. It only had 103 brake horsepower, but it weighed less than a ton, making it really fun to drive. And being powered by a 1.5 litre engine, it was cheap to install too. It's a fantastic car if you're a young driver in the UK, though one thing has always driven me away from buying one of these, which is of course the interior. More specifically the dials, which are both mounted in the centre, and it just looks so weird. Not only did it look strange, but it wasn't very practical either, seeing as the dials were not in the driver's line of sight, which is pretty dangerous. Toyota adopted this style of gauges until 2011, when they finally moved the dials to where they were meant to be. So thank you Toyota for fixing it, though the GR Yaris is slightly out of my budget. The TVR Cerbera. In 1996, TVR revealed their brand new Grand Touring sports car to the world. It was called the Cerbera, and it was a stunning car on the outside. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said with the inside because it was pretty chaotic. Mainly the steering wheel because oh my, what is that? It was a 2-spoke steering wheel with a fuel gauge, a clock, and an air vent mounted onto it. That's literally an air vent on the steering wheel. Why? Though despite me thinking the steering wheel is ugly, I actually don't hate it. I think it suits the car very well. I mean, TVRs after all are meant to be crazy sports cars, so pairing that with a crazy interior seemed perfect. The ugliness adds to the character, and in a way, it's pretty quirky too. The EP3 Honda Civic Type R. Now, I'm personally not a big fan of the EP3, but it is a very loved car in the community. A K20 powered 3-door pocket rocket which you can pick up for under £4,000. It sounds like a bargain. However, I have one big complaint which pretty much ruined the whole car for me, which is the shifter. A lot of owners say that it does feel good to use, which is fair enough, but come on, it does look a bit strange. Now you're probably saying, but Yuwan, the Porsche Carrera GT has a similar shifter. Yes, it does, but in the Porsche you don't sit upright. When sitting in the EP3, it doesn't feel like a sporty car. It feels more like a van. Thankfully, the shifter in later model Civics are properly placed, which is very nice. So let's just ignore that this thing ever existed. And that is the end of the video. I really hope you guys did enjoy this one. If you want to see more videos just like this one, then make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. We are trying to hit 200k sometime this year, so any help towards our goal would be greatly appreciated. Also, leave a comment down below. I'll try my best to go through some of them after the video's uploaded, so I might get to you. And it really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you very much, and I'll catch up with you guys very soon. Until next time, have a good one guys. Stay safe, stay inside. Until next time. Cheers. My dineros, what I'm out to get. Sombrero, I get hat and then I'm out again. Got an A1 Chica with a drive like a 3 litre. That's what she needs D4, like the outfit.